This video is brought to you by Harold Sack, who gave me a massive 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon. Thalia in the Gitrog versus Etali Primal Conqueror. That is a pretty good opening hand, so we'll definitely keep it. We are on the draw. And turn 1 fast mana from our opponent. Don't really mind how this game goes because both of the commanders are brand new, so we'll see a good game one way or another. Into Farseek, so our opponent is well on the way to Etali, down to 4 cards in hand though. Okay, that's an exploration for us, so we can go for, exploration, and we'll go for the Wooded Foothills into a tap land here, so we can get down the Lotus Cobra straight away next turn, and that will allow us to make 3 mana from this, because it makes landfall twice, and then obviously it taps for mana itself, so probably just going for Signing Blood. And now a Xenagos, the Reveler, making a 2/2 hasty creature. Hitting us for 2 with that, of course, a Glacial Chasm for us. This is a lands matter deck. So it's Lotus Cobra. Don't know if we're going to be able to keep up with our opponent, but the Lotus Cobra can make some black mana for us. Crack that for a scrubland. I'm not sure what we're going to draw into here for 1 mana. So I'll just make black with that as well. Might regret not having any green mana available, but I don't think so. Yeah, okay, just another land, so yeah, I'll still get down the forest. Now Xenagos generating some mana, so we'll likely see the Etali here. And they get some cards from us, of course. Grabbing our Admonition Angel, and they get a Plate of Selves. So maybe just worth a Toxic Deluge next turn then, just in case I want to generate some more mana. I'll take the hit from the token. Alright, and there's a Sunpetal Grove. So let's drop Sunpetal Grove. We'll obviously take both of our land drops here. I'll try and get down the Mirari's Wake. And that leaves us with exactly enough mana to get down the Mirari's Wake, and then even without the double mana we would have been able to afford the Toxic Deluge. So we'll go for 7 life into this. We're going to take a hit for 7 next turn from Etali, whether we like it or not, so might as well wipe the board if we're going to take that life. That does leave us empty-handed though, and our opponent sees to gain more card advantage than us from the command zone. Another Satyr token from our opponent, and then tapping out into a Lurking Predators. Okay, an Ancient Green Warden is good with the fetches, so let's go for that. That does trigger the Lurking Predators, so we have to hope that we whiff on that. There is a Great Henge on top of our opponent's library. And then we'll slam down the Thalia here as well. And this time revealing a Kogla and Yadaro, but we'll keep both of our creatures there, thankfully. Alright, so now we can go for both the fetches. We've actually got something to sacrifice now, and a decent blocker. Let's get out the Glacial Chasm as well, show our opponent that we don't have anything. Just sacrifice a basic to that. Oh, we have to sacrifice 2 lands actually, because of the Ancient Green Warden, forgot about that. So we just have to hope that we can keep hold of the Ancient Green Warden and the Exploration now, because we'll be able to get those lands out again straight away. Alright, Arishkar's Expertise, our opponent is going to draw 7, goes up to 10 cards in hand and gets a free spell. And that is a Panharmonicon ready for the commander. Making another Satyr token, which does come into play tapped thanks to the Thalia. The Glacial Chasm does mean that we can't attack, so if we want to be able to attack next turn, which I might go in at the Xenagos, then yeah, they're going to have to, then we're going to have to sacrifice the Glacial Chasm. So let's get rid of that. There is a Tireless Provisioner with all the landfall, that's good. So we'll go for the Tireless Provisioner, triggering the Lurking Predators again, and this time revealing a forest on top of our opponent's library. And let's get some landfall going. Tireless Provisioner triggers twice, so we'll make some treasure tokens, and then another forest. We do have 1 more landfall trigger to make. So unfortunately, swinging the Ancient Green Warden into the Kogla doesn't really do anything for us, but we'll go for the Thalia and encourage them to block with that token. And now we can sacrifice a land, so just get rid of the Snow Forest, seeing as how it's tapped. Gets into a Farseek. So we're okay on mana, but not doing too much of anything else, unfortunately. I'll just keep the Farseek in my hand, I think, and make our opponent worry about it. Let's get that forest out again straight away. And again, make treasures. It's just a case of top decking into something good at this point. Our opponent has a full grip and is, no doubt, trying to get down Etali again. I bet they'll get something really good off the top of our library when they play Etali as well. So tapping out and making some mana with Xenagos is 10 mana in total. Now we see our good friend Etali. Haste won't help our opponent here, even if he had it, because it comes in tapped, but that is 2 ETBs. Alright, one is a dam, so they'll be able to use that as targeted removal. And they do going after our commander, and they get Etali Primal Storm off the top of their library as well, which will also come in tapped. Then it's our Elvish Reclaimer, and a Selvala Heart of the Wilds, and those come in untapped of course, without haste. And we're still managing to hold our opponent back, thankfully. Okay, Courser of Kruphix lets us see what's on top of our library at least. So let's just slam down the Thalia here. Trigger our opponent's Lurking Predators again. They get into a Llanowar Elves, which won't draw with the Thalia, thankfully. They do get 2 card draws off a Panharmonicon with a big creature though. And then let's go for the Courser of Kruphix. Trigger that Predators again. And it was a Conjurer's Closet that time. Okay, a Braid's Arisen Nightmare this time, so wouldn't mind drawing into that. It is a means of card draw for us. So I think it would be intelligent to play out the Glacial Chasm so that the Etali can't infect us to death with the ability there. So we'll gain some life, make some treasures, and we'll have to sacrifice a couple of lands as well to the Glacial Chasm, thanks to the Ancient Green Warden doubling things up. That is one downside. And luckily we've still got land drops to make, so Forest for more life gain, more tokens, and one more land drop, getting both of these sacrificed Glacial Chasm lands straight back out again. Obviously not going to shuffle the library with Farseek or the fetches because we do have that Braids on top. Now see how much our opponent can progress his board. Quite a lot, no doubt. I would definitely be putting the Blade of Selves onto the Etali. Okay, making a copy of it with Heat Shimmer. We'll make a token, which will get 2 triggers, thanks to the Panharmonicon. So of course revealing the Braids on top of our library. And there's a Blasphemous Act as well, so they will wipe the board and then get the Braids into play. Not sure what they're going to sacrifice with Braids that will benefit them more than us. We know that the Urborg is on top, so yeah, we can give them that with the second Etali trigger. Obviously was hoping that they wouldn't make copies with Etali, but I don't suppose that was ever likely to happen with a surplus of mana and Blade of Selves, although they don't seem to have equipped this very aggressively, that's why I was hoping. Okay, and they had Heroic Intervention, so a one-sided board wipe from our opponent. We do still have the Glacial Chasm, of course, this is exactly why I played it out. And then they go past our Urborg. Oh, of course, you have to reveal a non-creature, don't you? Or a non-land, I should say, with this. Yeah, so not revealing the Urborg, going straight past and getting a Nature's Law. And they get their own Jaxis as well. Yeah, that's a good thing about this new Etali, you can't whiff on it really. Unless you don't have any forests in your deck for a Nature's Law, which they obviously do. Still no haste from our opponent. Selvala isn't drawing our opponent any cards here because they already have big creatures in play. And then it's mana from Xenagos, 5 cards left in hand. Yeah, they get 9 mana there. There is a Helm of the Host, so should be able to equip up twice here. I did say that we're going to get a good game no matter what here. Okay, seeing a Bramble Sovereign now. So not equipping up the Blade of Selves there, deciding to get down the Bramble instead, maybe making a copy of an ETB creature when it comes in, but they do get 2 Etali triggers from the Helm of the Host, so it's even more shenanigans. They grab a Xenagos and our Gitrog monster, and there's a Skyshroud Claim from us. They get their own Dockside Extortionist as well, with a bunch of, I mean, they're the only non-land permanents we have in place, so they're about to make even more mana. And they could make a token copy with the Bramble Sovereign, which they should pay into because it's going to be positive mana for them if they do that. So they'll actually get 2 copies of the Dockside with the Bramble Sovereign, won't they? Yeah, and they do pay into the first Bramble Sovereign, so it's 2 more Dockside triggers. So they're going to have a massive amount of mana here. So ending with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 82 treasure tokens, and haven't even got our Skyshroud Claim yet, but getting some untapped forests with that as well. And then deciding to swing in with the Etali because obviously they see to benefit from this as well. Can whiff with Etali, the original one, and they do. They well, arguably whiff. They get rid of our Field of the Dead. Get their own Wood Elves though, so a couple of untapped forests. And they can obviously pay for Bramble's Sovereign if they want to get more Wood Elves, which might be a good idea. Get the mana while you can. Alright, deciding not to pay into the Bramble's Sovereign for whatever reason. Never know, our opponent might see us wipe out all the treasure tokens or the non-land permanents, something like that, so yeah, they probably should have gone for the Bramble's Sovereign. Trading out the treasures for lands is always going to be better. Anyway, obviously that Etali dealt no damage to us thanks to the Chasm. And there we see more doubling up of triggers with the Strionic Resonator. And they'll even be able to start refilling their hand next turn thanks to a Sylvan Library. And we'll see what the Braids sacrifices. Should just go for a creature here, you would think. No, going for a treasure. We'll sacrifice a treasure. Right, going to pay the 2 life into the Glacial Chasm because we can't get it out of the graveyard as it stands now. Not that I hold out much hope here. Alright, and they Plumb the Forbidden. Yeah, so just playing our commander into Plumb the Forbidden. We just missed out on Field of the Dead, unfortunately. So, obviously triggering the Lurking Predators again for our opponent. And they did get into another creature, seemingly. Where is it? I think it's this Birds of Paradise. And then we can go for this Plumb the Forbidden, just really doing anything we can here. So, we sacrifice our commander that we've literally just played to do this. So this is a very expensive, draw 2 cards. Lurking Predators triggers again for our opponent, and they reveal a Jeska's Will this time. Okay, just drawing into a land. Okay, just a land, so let's get those lands in. I'm just going to go empty-handed here. Revealing a Harmonize with the Lurking Predators. Alright, so we're just sitting back on the Glacial Chasm, basically. I mean, our opponent can do this all he wants, but if he can't deal with the Glacial Chasm, then, well, we've got quite a long time to actually try and draw into something. Noteworthy that they could go and get a Wasteland, a Strip Mine, something like that with the Elvish Reclaimer. So we could lose next turn. Gitrog Monster sacrifices a land and draws a card. 3 in hand at the moment. Okay, not putting life into the Sylvan Library, surprisingly. Maybe just has a bunch of lands on top and wants to shuffle them away. Getting into all these effects. A Splinter Twin onto the Etali. Don't have Vigilance though, so I might have gone for Splinter Twin onto the token version, and then you can still swing in with the original. Anyway, they get another... they copied both the original with Twin Flame and this version as well. You can pay extra to copy both of them, so that was 5 mana to copy both, and obviously each comes in with 2 triggers. Then getting a 3 visits from us, that is a Garrick Primal Hunter, which will no doubt be card draw for them. They are only at 1 card in hand at the moment. So yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, actually they probably didn't draw the cards with Sylvan Library because they wanted to keep it on top and then get the copies with Etali and get straight into them without paying the mana cost. I think I still would have drawn into them, just have them in hand, to be honest. It's not like you can't afford to actually play them. But I don't suppose it matters either way. Our opponents certainly got the game, I would think. An E-Witness and a Myria Angel. E-Witness grabs the Twin Flame and going after the Heroic Intervention as well. So even if we did get into a board wipe at this point, that wouldn't help us. There's a Felidar Retreat and a Champion's Helm. The client's bugging out because of all the permanents here. There's that Jeska's Will again. And Raminap Excavator. Our opponent drops a land, so we'll make a bird token. And that is plus counters from the Felidar Retreat on everything. And then another land for the same triggers again. And now we see a Flame Rush Rider. So when it attacks, create a token copy of another attacking creature. And that gets exiled at the end of combat. Obviously that's to go on the Etali. Now Xenagos going to make a bajillion mana. And we see a Chaos Warp. Not sure if the client's going to show us what that's targeting. It went after... Oh, it went after the our land. So traded out the land for a Lotus Field. So they'll be able to attack in and get rid of us here. There's an Augur of Autumn as well, which they'll definitely be able to cast creatures off the top of the library. We have to sack 2 lands to the Lotus Field, a Scapeshift, and a Harmonize. They just drew 3 cards, decided not to cast the Scapeshift, because obviously that would make the game last even longer. All our opponent has to do here is turn sideways, so I'm hoping that he doesn't keep playing cards. Now we've still got the Helm of the Host equipped, so we'll get another couple of tokens. Xenagos going to make something big. Should go for the transform on the Etali whilst he's got the game won. That would be interesting. Deal a bunch of infect damage to us. Alright, so our opponent did forego the getting stuff with Etali there. Manages to get into the Great Henge on the original Etali on the swinging. And let's see how much we go down by here. Alright, going down to minus 96, so hopefully you all enjoyed it. Wasn't much of a showing for Thalia and Gitrog, but we did see a lot of awesome stuff from Etali, which I think's fun. Hopefully you do too. I'm Tribalkai. Thank you for watching.